Play on. No.
And the Cats take another stride towards another double chance. Geelong have won 9 of their last 11 and building towards another September assault.
Alrighty, hello. Welcome to the CREEDCAST. As always, my name is Dave. Before we get into it, obviously a big day in the history of our club. Both sad, but a cause for celebration. And Travis Boak's retirement being announced today. So we will, of course, get to that at the back end of this episode. We're certainly not going to let this episode finish without talking about it and just having a little bit of celebration on the podcast tonight. But of course, unfortunately, we do have another big loss review to get through first, which the format of it might take a little bit of a change. Jamie and I have kind of talked, and Jamie's actually brought it up that kind of the way we're reviewing games now is more with a lens towards how we're going to look in 2026, how players are looking, because we're just, as far as a competitive outfit, we have really, we've kind of given up on that sense. The players haven't given up, but players being put into surgery, all those kind of things. We just are not the competitive outfit we were at the start of the year, where the line-by-line breakdowns and how those lines are working in 2025 doesn't quite matter as much as we go into the last 3 weeks. So we might just do a bit more of an overall review, look at some things we like, things we're watching, things we like, don't like, things we're watching, spotlights, all that kind of thing. It just might take a little bit more of a different format today. And, of course, this is reviewing Geelong beating our Port Adelaide Football Club 23-15, 153 to, I said on Twitter somewhat, again, the gallows humour is getting a bit of a workout that the scoreline of 9-11, 65 was somewhat apt. In sticking with the tradition that I just started last week, it's really just the end of the season malaise, but the Jurassic Park analogy is going to continue this week as to how I review this game. The Lost World was a movie that didn't get received nearly as well as the original Jurassic Park. And of course, they're just diminishing returns once you start trying to bleed a franchise for all it's worth. But I actually loved The Lost World as a kid, almost as much as I liked Jurassic Park. And going to Kardinia Park, knowing what we knew was going to happen, just felt like that scene in The Lost World where they enter the long grass and the raptors are just lying in wait and they just go. So a good scene where you see the raptor. You can't really see the raptors, but you just see like blokes running through this long field of grass on this island, and they just start dropping out of sight, and you see the tails of the raptors and the screams, and there is a guy at the start, like a scientist guy, yelling, "Don't go into the long grass," and that was kind of like how we felt, like, don't go to Kardinia Park. We know what's going to happen, but we had to do it anyway. Good evening, Jamie. We have survived another Raptor attack ourselves as fans, though. How are you doing? Obviously, a lot of emotions today, but we are going to be starting with the game. But it is an odd day as well to be doing this.
Hello, and hello to everyone else tuning in. I feel fantastic, to be honest. I had a fantastic weekend, a lot of recreation, a lot of socializing, and unfortunately, walking into the long grass to face Raptors was, like you said, it was expected. To that degree, we discussed on our Patreon show to what degree we would be comfortable with or accepting of, and the margin was more than that. And that was largely due to, let's be honest, quite an inept third quarter. Mm-hmm. Outside of that, no harm, no foul, really. Yeah. Surprised to see first quarter that we drew level in, maybe undeservedly, but ball don't lie. Mm-hmm. And second quarter that got away from us, but then a last quarter where we didn't precisely roll over, in my opinion. I think we generated more scoring shots than Geelong. They were just obviously more accurate at getting better looks. So, look, like you mentioned off the top, trying to look at things through a different lens as we draw to a close for this men's season. Just kind of look at, and we kind of discussed that too on Thursday night show. Um, that's all we really kind of have to look forward to is just seeing what magnets get shifted, who's going to lift in the absence of what is quite a long list of outs. The
Mm.
injury list that was posted today, yeah, is nightmare fuel. If you don't laugh in the gallows humor of it all, you'll cry.
Hmm.
So yeah, all in all, I'm alive.
Yeah.
Pretty big announcement today to kind of ease the tension, and move on.
Hmm.
Keep moving on, should I say?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, as the announcement today kind of shows that the time, time waits for no one, including the great Travis Boak, and certainly in a more positive sense, as we kind of start really steamrolling towards the back end of, well, the off season for the men's side at least. Yeah, as to your point about a weekend, yeah, like my weekend was decent as well. Like had no expectations of a win, so um, that was fine. Was kind of more impressed with some of their efforts at times, while they were still lambs to the slaughter overall in the game. Um, and yeah, like I worked half a Saturday, then had a decent little Saturday evening, and then yeah, I went down to. I'll talk about it maybe more on the Patreon this week since we've got to get to the Boak stuff later on. I was going to bring it up tonight, but I went down and watched the women's final practice match as well, which is just a beautiful afternoon down at Alberton, and just got me like frothing at the mouth. Just for the actual game days in the AFL women's season coming for in the next, in a week and a half actually, for some proper premiership points game days for our women down there. So yeah, nice little weekend, and then Port lost by 88. And as much as we want to see them winning, it was kind of to be expected, and yeah.
Gee whiz. Yeah. Yeah, Port lost by 88.
Yeah.
Happy clappers over here. Just, yeah, wow.
Yeah.
There's always next week
There is. But
for the time being.
the the stats kind of just lead, like, again, as we talked about, like they're doing the reviews the last few weeks have just been the same stats over and over again, and the story of this game is really very similar to the showdown demolition, which is where and disappointment comes from, but we're kind of just accepting of where we are at this point of the season. Once again, I mean, just starting just as a general point, we can't control the game well enough to have more of the ball. And actually, over the last few weeks, with the outs we've got, it's been a real precipitous drop in the disposal discrepancy between sides. Like we just don't have enough good ball users or just ball winners to be able to get enough of the ball, and it converts to we have less of the ball, the other team has more. So it's funny looking at the average disposals on the year for Port now is 347. It's been dropping a little bit over the last few weeks, but still 347.7.
Yeah.
Geelong's 354.1, so a 7 disposal discrepancy on the season, but on the day it was 409 disposals for Geelong, 317 for us. With Geelong again,
nearly 100 more disposals.
yeah. Well, it's the quick.
This is all really.
Yeah, it's an incredible night. What 92? Yeah, it's an insane discrepancy based considering the average on the season is 7, so it's an 8 plus 85 on the average. With the disposal efficiency, again, these numbers look close enough, but when you consider they had almost, again, plus 85, plus 92 disposals on the day, they used it at 73.1%. We went at 69.7%. So when we can't even match the disposal efficiency, or at least maybe get a little bit better with that much less of the ball, there's your game right there. Efficiency inside 50, they were plus 3.5, not too bad, but yeah, when they're also having 69 inside 50s versus 33, 34, I think it was. Yeah, 33.
33, yeah.
I mean, that's insane. Like plus 36 inside 50s. That's when you can't get control in the middle, that means you're going to give up more inside 50s, and then you're going to give up these big scores. It's been the storyline of the last 3 weeks. I think it's 65, 65, 69. That's, 200 inside 50s against in 3 weeks versus maybe we've hit 100, 120. So it's just insane numbers. And we're just a team that can't be competitive now. We're just not a competitive team against the top echelon. And we've played 2 top 4 teams in the last couple of weeks, which has exacerbated that feeling of being terrible. But that's what happens when top 4 teams that are kind of humming. The Crows are, unfortunately, I think they're my premiership favourite now. Like, I don't want them to, but as far as the team that I think can win it, maybe I'm trying to prepare myself for it. But I actually just think watching how fit they are versus, Brisbane lose Lockie Neal, Freo lose Hayden Young. A lot of teams are kind of, the Crows are the one team that's playing incredible football and staying fit. And then Geelong with reasonable fitness again just beat the pants off us in this game and just. Yeah, I mean, the numbers are just the same as they have been for the last 3 weeks, aren't they? They just show a team that's lost a lot of their thoroughbreds and are showing that. That's just the way it is.
That's absolutely right. Yeah, cut a couple of snakes at the head in our regard, or one big one in Zach Butters, and a speedy midfield with the Bailey Smith and a Max Holmes, who's just like riding the lightning at the moment. Or maybe we are in the literal sense with an electric chair. But like you take out our only speedy midfielder in Zach Butters, and then their midfield is up against Ollie Wines, who obviously was our best player at a fantastic game by Ollie Wines. Willem Drew, Travis Boak, and what's his name? Son of a gun. Jackson Mead.
Yeah.
Easily easily understandable how they can generate nearly 100 more disposals with that kind of archetypal difference in the middle. You talk about conversion inside 50 though, like 54.5% was plus 7% on our season.
Yeah.
So you look at it and you go 33 inside 50s, 54.5% efficiency inside 50. I'm taking that in a half of football. Absolutely taking that in a half of football. 4 quarters of football though is while the efficiency is still very good for the inside 50s that we generated, that's just giving us no chance of putting up a competitive score, let alone a winnable score, which, again, we're not expecting at this time of the year, but so much breakdown throughout the lines just due to the B grade team that we're having to select by and large. And the gun, you cut the guns off and inhibit others in other areas, then we're at a hiding to nothing straight off the bat.
Yeah. Still not being able to win the contest. I will say that the while we lost by 88, it isn't, last week we chose to not do the Wilson Gray Award. We will be doing it this week again. It's a little bit of slim pickings, but we will be doing it because I think the tackle count was we were plus 14, which we should be. Being that we had far less of the ball, but that was our criticism in the showdown was like the Crows were plus 20 or 30, I think. Might have been plus 30, and they had almost 70 or 80 more disposals. So we should have been winning the tackle count in a wet weather showdown when we had far less of the ball, and we did not win the tackle count. The Crows exceeded us there as well. So it was really embarrassing. Whereas this one, they talked about the pressure rating at some point in the first quarter and said both teams were over 200. We were applying ourselves as best we could. We just simply didn't have the kind of the talent. The talent.
No polish.
Yeah, and as you said,
it was all chaos.
Yeah, Ocean Mullen I think they said at the start of the game, I think it was Butters, one of his lower disposal counts this year had been in the return game back at Adelaide Oval earlier in the year when they put Mullen on him. But he probably had a bit more of it because there was a few more points of difference. But friend of the pod, I guess I can call him because I've had bought him a beer. AFL Glicko did say when the news
Rory,
Rory, when the news dropped that Rosie was a late out, he put on Twitter. He just said it's almost a free hit to be able to just tag Butters out of the game because he recognised that that was the one danger point. There's good workhorse players like Ollie Wines, Boak, and players that have had the ability to break games open more in the past, but there's still not that kind of the archetype, as you were talking about, that Butters is in the mercurial talent that he is. And when you take, and then there's obviously the Horne-Francises and the Bergmans are long gone from the side now as far as being a force in the year 2025. Yeah, Butters was the only point of danger, the real game flipper that we had at this point. And, you know, you take one of the better taggers in the competition in a side that really knows how to function with the way they play, throw him to Butters. And it was early in the game. I think it was only maybe 3/4 of the way through the first quarter. There was a center after one of the goals. There was a center bounce, and the commentators went, "Oh, Butters is getting frustrated." And you could just see Mullen was all over him, hands grabbing, and Butters was trying to.
It was very close checking.
It was.
It was as hard as you can put on a hard tag, I think, within the boundaries, but pushing the line.
Yeah, but that's
which, as a supporter of Geelong, you'd be laughing. That's what you'd love. It would be the same if we were doing it too.
Yeah, I did accept an invite from the Hoops crew, and shout out to them, which is a Geelong content podcast, YouTube, whatever it is, to pop on and have a chat with them in their post game live show on Sunday night. And when I was sitting in the studio waiting for my turn to speak, there was a lot of Mullen talk, and then I talked about it when we were on, and then I watched for a bit after my turn, and there was a lot of Mullen talk. Like, they were absolutely cock a hoop with that performance. They did recognise as well, though, that there was we just didn't have the points of danger to be able to worry about having that. You can just take Butters out of the game and just accept that. While Boak and Wines are going to have, Boak had a great game as well. Wines had a good game. I think Drew had one of his better ones. Maybe being out again, Drew with a bit more of a defined role improves his performances. I still think he needs to work in the preseason to get back to the level and get a bit more consistency in his game. But happy to see Drew have a decent game. But none of those guys are breaking a game open the way of Butters. And then when you throw a Butters and a Horne-Francis and a Rosie and a Bergman all working through the spine, they can all break the game open. And we just. Yeah, or as a side that was already going in, probably expecting to lose by at least 10 goals. Then we lost Rosie, and then Butters got tagged out of the game. It's a miracle it wasn't probably more over 100, really. So
yeah. And it's a catch-22 because you have less ability to shift Butters to, say, a forward pocket or something like that, because you need him in the middle still to take that tag still, but it's still at the detriment of our system and our side. Because if you shift him, you're just weakening our midfield even further. I think, even if he is copying a tag. So but again, like, with that being so obvious,
no, I'm just thinking about it. I'm like, that would have been fun. Like, fuck it. But it's also, you want to give Butters the experience of that too, because I think that's one thing, going into next year. Like, Butters, I think, has worked to improving clearing the tags that he's had this year. A few people were criticism, like some of the online criticism was like, he has to get better at that. I'm like, part of shaking a tag is having help from your teammates as well, and we just don't have those players available. So. We've seen him work through tags pretty well this year at times. There's some
I think so,
ingenious ways that he did it. Like the chin cotter example against Carlton was fun. But I think he has just, like, there's been some screens that, like, he's utilized teammates and gone around them and tried, and little tricks of the trade. But this was just a game where there just wasn't much chance for that either. We just don't have enough dynamism in our play with the players we have on the field at the moment to be able to kind of do that for Butters. And he had a 10 disposal game. One of the, I don't know when the last time was he had a game like that, to be honest. I didn't even think to look it up, but pretty safe in saying he doesn't have those ones at all in the last few years. So, but I don't have too much concern with that. That's just the nature of the way the game was and the way our team is just set up at the moment with who's left on the field. It's just, that was kind of going to happen once they decided to put that tag on him and put someone on him that's going to that really will just embrace the old school tagger role, like to literally stick to them like shit on Velcro, really.
Yeah, precisely.
Yeah.
Um, we
How did
go
you?
go back to the drawing board.
Yeah. Um, Lockie Jones, I think, had. A, I mean, Jeremy Cameron still kicked 6 goals, but I think he battled well. Like, I think it was another good experience for Lockie Jones and one of his better returns since returning from injury. He seems to embrace the battle with guys like Cameron, I guess. I don't know. He really, like, there was a few hard tackles on him and made Cameron work hard early. By the way, did you watch the replay on KO, I assume, or the Fox replay? Or you didn't watch a replay, possibly?
Hmm.
um,
Yeah, no, I watched the first half and then
yeah,
the second half via KO Mini.
yeah. Um, Brad Johnson at the start of the game seemed befuddled by the fact that Lockie Jones had gone to Jeremy Cameron. I was like, have you not just looked at any tape this year?
Yeah, the whole research piece. Yeah, yeah. I don't know when you mentioned that. Maybe it was last week or the week before, just about people not clearly not doing their research
Mm,
before commentating. Because yeah, if he did, he would understand that. I think the vast majority of the football public acknowledged how good of a job Lockie was doing on Jezza in the first bout earlier this season until he
mm,
did his hammy, of course. And um, I played golf on Sunday afternoon and finished around the time that the game started. So I was on the road for a lot of the first half,
mm,
but tuned into Power Nation, and they kind of mentioned that out of in the first half in particular, like Jeremy Cameron's goals came largely when he wasn't matched up
mm,
against Lockie Jones. There was also the one that he kicked off of a Dangerfield mark about 10 meters out, where he wheels around. He kind of edges Lockie Jones towards Dangerfield, collects him so Dangerfield can then shepherd.
mm,
I think our other players fell asleep a little bit at the wheel on that occasion as well, because he obviously was protecting Jez's right side, which he's goal side, but Jez is left footed. So again, it's a bit of a catch 22 because you want to be defending goal side um,
yeah.
uh, of your opponent. But yeah, and but everyone else was kind of just on their heels or actually had their back to that contest, just expecting Dangerfield to take the shot. So you can imagine, I think Lockie Jones is pretty upset that he allowed that goal to unfold, but still imagine fairly frustrated that there's teammates there
Mm.
that could cover the left foot, even though, there's the protected area. But yeah. So in the second half, I think he tried hard, but I think as a whole, the defense they're getting tired, which is on one of the topics on my watch list today. Is just like we've spoken a lot about the midfield being culpable for a lot of our defensive inadequacies
Mm.
and the scores being put against us. And the defense has actually held up really well across the year. Whereas I think now, with a month to go, I think they're just succumbing to that workload.
Yeah.
And they're losing their shape, they're losing their structure, they've lost their fight a little bit. Like Zerk Thatcher and Alir at stages, although Alir had an okay game
Mm.
overall. Again, both 100% time on ground as well. Just which is kind of getting like rings run around us a bit more, even when it is starting from a defensive 50 or defensive third point of view rather than transitional play. We're just breaking down
Mm.
far too easily. And, Alir, Zerk Thatcher, Lockie Jones, Sin has played most of the year. These are some guys who should know better. I think Burgoyne played well and then he went off with an injury.
Yeah, I thought
So,
Bergon was picking out targets a lot better than he has in recent times.
yeah, I noticed that too.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, he was kind of, I guess, keep it simple, stupid kind of stuff. Not that I'm calling Burgoyne stupid, but like that's the saying. He went. I mean, he went. I just scrolled down. Went at 71% disposal efficiency in the game, which is we've seen him below 50 in a few of the last weeks. So Yeah, look, he had what 14 disposals, so not a huge disposal game, but middle of the pack, and yeah, I think he had kind of improved, gone back to not improved on a couple of things, just tightened up his decision making a little bit, and it was getting some reward. But yeah, then he goes off injured, and thankfully not. I saw whispers of Achilles, and I was like, go fuck yourselves, football gods, like fuck off, like just just shoot yourselves into the sun. But then it was like a plan to your partial tear or something like that. So yeah, hopefully it's still TBC on the injury report, but hopefully that means he can maybe, I don't know what that means until we see a proper diagnosis, but yeah, hopefully that means he can be
If
back.
it's anything to do with the plantar fascia, like that could be very annoying.
Yeah, that's
and maybe not worth it.
Oh, I mean, not worth it for this year. I don't want to see him back this year, to be honest.
Yeah.
I'm
But a
more
lengthy surgery would, make it even worse.
Yeah, and
or
I think
a layoff.
Yeah, which sucks for him because he now doesn't get to take part in possibly probably he isn't going to take part in any more of Travis Boak's career, but he has played a couple of years with him, so he's certainly going to take that with him. But yeah, back to this game. I'm glad you brought it up. Impressed with Jace Burgoyne for the first time in weeks. He has been a watch for me a lot this year, and I still will be watching with interested eyes as to how he bounces back in 2026, because I think he had a really, really good 24, obviously highlighted by that man of the match performance in that great semi-final against Hawthorn. But yeah, he hasn't really hit those heights at any point this year. Not even gotten close, I don't think, to be honest. Rarely featured. I don't know. I'd have to go through the count. Can't remember if he's featured in our votes at all this year, which he featured fairly reasonably. He was in the top 10, I'm pretty sure, last year for our player of the year. So yeah, it's been a down year for Jace. But it was nice to see him kind of get back to some of that stuff. But then, of course, go down injured, which just doesn't that just sum up the season? Like,
yeah. Absolutely, it does. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's over. Before it begins.
Yeah.
That's not really relevant.
The defensive side of it, like, I don't really have too much of a watch on any of the other guys, like, because like you said, it's kind of like it's kind of like that fucking machine gun, and say like at the start of Saving Private Ryan in the beach scene, where they're just you just get the view from behind the machine gun. That's just our defense is the guys on the beach. Like it's just constant peppering,
just picking them off.
60, like when you're getting plus 60 inside 50s 3 weeks in a row. I mean, I think Geelong actually took advantage of it quite well as far as it. I think they took like 24 marks inside 50 or something like that in this one. I'm just trying to scroll down.
29.
20. Wow, I was underselling it.
29.
29.
So, nearly half of the time they entered inside 50, they marked the ball.
God, it's insane numbers. And we took 6. I mean, marks for the game as well, 127 to 66. Like that's just their ball control. I mean, that's again, we're talking. They're a reasonable team in that sense. They take 100 marks a game, but they've taken 127. We've taken 66. So they've gone plus 27 on the season average. We've gone minus 16. So yeah, you extrapolate. We've talked about at times this year when we actually thought we had a hope in the season, still like trying to bridge the gaps on seasonal averages to try to find those wins. And then all of these games the last few weeks have just been like, no, they're actually going to grow exponentially.
It's going to get worse.
Yeah. I can't even remember if you said this on air or off air when we were chatting before, but you've mentioned Nightmare Fuel at some point tonight. And Nightmare Fuel is watching just like my sleep paralysis monster is all of these stats at the moment. Like just, I see.
Yeah, you could fit a black hole in the discrepancy of these stats.
Yeah.
It's the gap is that big.
Yeah. And fucking Matthew McConaughey is in Interstellar. Just he's on the other side of the wall that I'm podcasting from right now going, no, do not have
Don't do it, Dave.
Don't have hope for the 2025 season. It's not gonna fucking happen. Murph. Fuck.
Great movie. But just before we're not really doing a defensive breakdown, even though the defense as a whole is part of my watch list. So I guess I've just kind of shoehorned breaking down that line a little bit. But Lorenz through a rotation. I thought he took a step up in this
Yeah.
game.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Obviously still raw. This game has obviously not his first full game, but now he's actually accrued a few full games. So he's actually been able to test himself at AFL level, he went at 87.5% from his 16 disposals. So happy to see a step up, and again, good signs moving into the next era of the Port Adelaide Football Club
Mm.
at the top level. Um, yeah, he's had good raps on him. His SANFL form has been promising, and I think has built this year in particular.
Mm-hmm.
Looks a smooth mover. Obviously, needs to put on some size, which, as you kind of brought up as a discussion point last week, a lot of guys need to put on a bit more size over the off season and
Mm-hmm.
into the preseason, where you do a lot of that shit.
Yeah.
No, really happy to see Lorenz step up. 264 meters gained
Mm-hmm.
as well. So yeah, um, pretty impressed with his influence in an otherwise challenging game.
Yeah.
And I'll try and avoid bringing that up after every talking point we bring up. It was a challenging game, but we're all cognizant to that, aren't we?
Well, there might be someone listening that starts thinking, "Oh, geez, we must have played pretty well," and we're going to remind them, "No, it was challenging. We lost by 88."
Funny thing is, though, I've with a lens to next year, I actually, because I'm an apologist, happy clapper piece of shit, I actually found a
It's
lot of
your fault, man.
positives.
It's a fucking
Yeah, yeah.
Kosh brought all
Hinkley
these.
sexual.
Kosh brought all these paid actor happy clappers in.
Yeah, yeah. Nah, but to be honest, yeah, yeah. Glass half full, glass half empty, depending on your outlook on life, I suppose. But yeah, I still managed to find a good list of positives while being pragmatic, objective, and with a lens to the year to come.
Yeah, look, if you look at I
But
think it's a great way to be too. Like, I'm still, we'll still be very critical of because I think this year just didn't need to happen the way it did. And those are discussions to have more in the off-season review, which we will. That's what we're kind of saving. We're trying to keep our lens on the game, and obviously, as you said, like with an eye towards 2026 as to what we can extract from the performance. I think
because no one wants to tune into this and hear us bleat about yet another loss, do they?
just be
Like
just be,
we're all depressed.
it would just be like that. Like if we wanted to just yell about it, it would just be like that. And there's that montage at the start of TED where they're like showing the different media responses to like Ted's like the miracle of Ted, this teddy bear speaking. And then it just goes to like a Fox News thing. Like it's just like a guy yelling, going, "Well, look what Jesus did! Look what Jesus did!" And we're not just going to do an hour podcast of like, "Look what
No.
Hinkley did! Look what Kosh did! This everything sucks." We want to try and talk about some things that actually are constructive about it. So,
Hmm.
fuck, I want to rewatch Ted now. I've been watching. I've been just diving back into movies as a way of like coping with the pain of the season.
Mm.
I watched Mulholland Drive while the Crows were winning again the other night because I thought that was more healthy. A healthier way to fucking deal with my shit was to watch a David Lynch movie, which had just been okay.
Yeah, I actually watched Ned Kelly, the Heath Ledger's Ned Kelly over the weekend, and again drawing parallels between the Port Adelaide Football Club and yeah, an Irish bushranger from yesteryear.
Yeah.
Like yeah, there's no spoiler for a historical fact, but getting shot down by the countless police officers
Mm,
in the 19th century while defending the Glenrowan Inn. Not really, but yeah, that's kind of how it feels watching Port Adelaide at the moment. Just
mm,
seeing us get gunned down
yeah.
and helpless.
and just know it's coming. Um, Yeah, mentioning Will Lorenz and his decent disposal efficiency and impact on the game, another young one that obviously we've got high hopes for, and Joe Berry. He had a 83%
Yes.
disposal efficiency and had a decent amount of disposals for the game. Where are we looking? Only 12. I guess it wasn't, apart from Wines, our next highest disposal getter was 24, and it's kind of, but I enjoyed Berry's. Obviously that run, like the goal was very good. Probably going to mention later. Yeah, well, there was a few good ones actually for the goal of the week bit. So stay tuned for that. It's actually like a reasonable selection for this week. But yeah, I was reasonably happy with Berry. I mean, he had 308 meters gained, which we didn't have wasn't a huge meters gained game for a lot of people. But yeah, I liked just seeing a bit more of Berry in this one as well, and a little bit more of what he can do, because he has. I mean, we haven't seen much of him at the AFL level since the start of the year. It was really nice to see, and he kind of looked a little bit more assured and in place, I guess. And it was just when you take the likes of Berry, obviously, unfortunately, Jackson was a sub. I don't know what I would. I guess we can touch on that. Did you like Hugh Jackson as sub? I didn't. I'm just perplexed by it.
No. He's the other guy.
Yeah.
We need to he's a peacock. We need to let him fly. Like he needs to have a full game to fully express his current talent level. Because his positioning on contests from a crumbing point of view, I think is one of his best assets. He's not afraid of a contest. He has good disposal by foot. Tick, 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 in my opinion. Funnily enough, I think Lorenz, Berry in this game in particular, and Hugh Jackson all are of a similar mold. And I don't know if that would necessarily work against them in the current way that AFL football is transitioning into, like ball movement, attacking. They just need to put on more size. But to answer your question, I want Jackson playing a full game. Yeah. Who to take out? Not 100% sure. Manny Liddy, he could probably have a sub moment. They play a fairly similar role. Obviously, Jackson Mead still drawing the ire of the public. And funnily enough, I thought it was a real watch list game from Jackson Mead. Some really ridiculous turnovers. 5 clangers, I think he had, which was equal worst, if you want to categorize it that way, for us. And then I look at his stats and, 18 disposals, 9 of them contested, 77.8%. So I'm just like, well, what do I know? Just a piece of shit. Or maybe I used to be a piece of shit. We're just trying to fit as many TV show and movie references into this episode as possible. For Ashley Hall on YouTube.
Yeah.
And shout out to Ash. Love your support. But I can't remember where I was going with that. Oh, Jackson Mead, yeah. I don't I watched the second half live somewhat. And then watching the replay, I'm like, he needs a real good off season. He needs a real lift coming into next year.
Yeah.
Because I don't think the stats truly reflect his game. Maybe I'm being harsh, but he hasn't had a great year.
Yeah.
And after having a very good year in 24, as a role player, genuine role player, played every game last season, but just hasn't been able to sustain a consistent effort that's actually contributing positively to the team this year. So maybe he was an option for sub too.
Yeah, that's the one I keep going back to. Is just Mead, I think, has run out of tickets on the year, and with the just he'd be a handy sub because he can come in. He's played enough to be able to come in and just fill into those roles, or move around to wherever we need. And we've got other players that can be flexible, but. I don't mind. Liddy did some nice things on the weekend as well. He didn't go at a great disposal efficiency clip, but I like what Liddy's done. And again, Liddy's come into the AFL system halfway through the year. There's a little bit more of a understanding of where he's at, and he's playing reasonably well considering. The Dylan Williams late in was I did put the joke on Twitter about Williams in for Rosie as a laid out. I kind of put the joke that this is not what Port fans meant, but yeah,
Yeah.
it's funny though because he comes in and plays more of the backman role again, which isn't just what Port fans want to see either. But I can understand they're bringing him in for Rosie and whatnot. But I still just don't. I think my opinion on Williams at the moment is he's a reasonable SANFL player that hit a purple patch of form that got the attention of Port fans who want just craving some.
When we had an opening as
Yeah.
well, sorry to cut in.
Yes, yeah. But I just don't know if he's got the full rounded game to be consistently to do the forward thing at a consistent level at the AFL level. Because he did get brought into the side 3 years ago, I think, off the back of some of the reasonable form and didn't really have much of an impact as a forward. And then he obviously had a good season that it earned him the contract extension he's currently on in 23 with the role at halfback. But yeah, I just don't know where he fits into the side in the long term, to be honest. As far as
Neither do I.
Dylan Williams, and like he's been around for 6-7 years now. Like he's not young anymore either. So he's kind of, I just don't know where his levels, his top tier level. If he's still not struggling to break into an AFL side at this point, I'm just not sure what more he can show us going forward. Like his spot for me would be under threat going. I mean, this is getting way too previewy for next year as well, but just like watching his game on the weekend, like reasonable, but like just, yeah, I still just don't know where he fits into the side in the long term.
Yeah, I think some of the conjecture over his non-selection has been somewhat overblown, in comparison to what he provides. And yes, we haven't been able to see what he provides at AFL level in a forward sense. I'm on a similar wavelength to you. I just don't think he's that. It's not that he's not that good. It's just that at AFL level, his attributes are limited to a good mark and a good kick. But at the end of the day, I think it will continually be his speed that lets him down at AFL level. And yeah, unfortunately, he's stuck in that twilight zone of being able to play SANFL football at a very good standard. And yeah, he's been swung back forward after starting his career there. And he's impacting as you would, yeah, as one would probably expect, like you mentioned, at this point in his career. That's all fair enough. The conjecture of his non-selection also makes it sound like he's a defining factor in us potentially getting a win or being more competitive. I just
did
don't
actually say
think that he has that much impact.
Some people were doing that on Twitter, being like, "We've lost this game at selection," and because Dylan Williams isn't being selected,
Yeah.
and it's just like, no.
Yeah, that's the vibe I was getting, and
I actually saw
just
someone
don't
say
buy
that.
into
I was just
that.
like, no, like, it's just not. It's not going to him scoring 5, 6, 7 at SANFL level isn't going to automatically translate to the AFL, particularly when we're going at like -20, -30 inside 50 differential. Like there's a lot more going on. That's the SANFL side's actually playing reasonable football and is in the top 5 right now. Like but
It is.
on
I
percentage.
told you we had a shot.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we got Centrals this week on Sunday at Albion, so
So park the bus.
yeah,
Park the bus.
Mourinho ball.
Get out of there with a 1-0 victory.
Yeah. or would you take a point at this point? Like, is going to be well at point? Yeah, like it's just fuck. Where was I going with that? Sandful.
Dylan Williams.
Yeah, just translating from and like because you've got a team that's functioning a little bit better overall at the Sandful level, whereas we're just not at the AFL level anymore with the fact that the season's kind of been packed up and a lot of guys are off for surgeries or just had season-ending injuries. So he's not going to get the ball down there, and it's just not going to be the same game. And then you've got like a injured forward line struggling to get the ball down there, and you're playing against AFL defenses, in particular over the last few weeks, the elite of the elite AFL defenses. Like it's comparing apples with Mars rocks. It's not even apples and oranges. It's like they're worlds apart. What we're comparing. So just there's this simplistic idea of that this is going to translate just was never actually realistic. And yeah, I wanted to. We talked about it the last few weeks. We'd like to see him get the shot if it worked, but none of us were sitting here going, "Oh, this is the difference between a win and a loss." Because all it might have been would be the difference between a 98-point showdown loss and at best like 86 points. Maybe he scores 2 here, and like, I don't know, but it wasn't going to actually bring it within touching distance of a win. It was just going to be touching distance of maybe not a showdown record loss. That's the best I can hope for out of that. And yeah, this week is.
I don't think the impact would have been that big even.
No,
I think
that's me being very, very hopeful as well.
Very, very, exactly. And I would agree that I think he's unlucky to not have played a handful more AFL games, and
Yeah.
he's been unlucky at selection a few times. But I think that's all it would have been, is that I think he just would have played a few more AFL games and not and been in our bottom 6 players, if not bottom half players.
Mhm.
And again, he has a great mark, he has good positioning, and he has a good kick. I just don't know if it's enough,
Yeah.
unfortunately, for Dill. And he's had big raps on him ever since he came into the club. I can't remember which draft it was in, um, but I know in interviews that Ollie Wines has had on, say, AFL 360 in past years, or Travis Boak, and like mentioning him in younger days, like of his impact at training and their forecasting for him, I guess you could say. But
Mhm.
unfortunately, unless he gets a new pair of legs, it may be the end of the line.
Yeah. And look, maybe he will get, it'd be interesting. I'd be interested to know what Josh Carr's opinion of him is now that obviously he's the coach.
Yes, that's a good point.
Um,
And I'd be happy to see him play out the rest of the year at AFL level, to be honest.
yeah. And then, if he sticks around, I
Um,
don't know what his contract's, if he's contracted until the end of this year or next. I feel like it might be the end of this year, to be honest. Um,
I get that feeling too, because I'm not
yeah.
sure.
He was drafted. I mean, he was drafted in 2019. So his first season at the level was obviously the COVID year, which probably didn't help. Um, and then he played, obviously made his debut against Sydney in round 15 in 2021. So, yeah, he's been around for, drafted.
Was Bergman taken in that draft, or are you just looking at Dylan Williams
I'm just looking at
specifically?
Dylan Williams, but I will have a quick look. What pick was Bergman?
I don't know. In the
Um,
teens, maybe, probably, because we were
yeah, I thought it
finishing
was 15 or something.
on. No, no, no. If it was
Pick
2019, we would have been
Yeah, he's
about
pick
mid-table.
14.
Yeah.
So it was the same draft, though. Yeah. So Bergman was taken to pick 14, um, right between Will Day and Cody Waitman. There was a fucking pick 12 was Keziah Pickett, pick 13 was Will Day, pick 14 was Miles Bergman, pick 15 was Cody Waitman. Real,
Good
fucking
cluster.
yeah, decent draft actually. Um, how did Freo have pick 7 through 9? Like Hayden Young, Caleb Sorong, and Liam Henry in the 3, 7, 8, 9. This isn't a 2019 draft pod. Stop looking at it, David. Yeah, but Dylan Williams picked 23. To round it back to the point at hand. No, he wasn't. Pick 23. No, he must have been. Was he rookie draft? I'm really confused right now. Number 23. Oh, is it just saying his 2019 AFL draft? He's not picked 23. I am so confused. Anyway, it's saying he's a pick 2. Maybe he's saying it's misread. No, he was pick 23. Sorry, I'd scrolled. Yeah, we took Williams at pick 23, and then Mead came in at pick 25 as well. Anyway, that's a massive side tangent. Sorry, people, but a little bit of it's about we're talking about where players are at, and he's been around for a while. It's funny. I was about to make a comparison to Francis Evans and just kind of like other players that have been on the fringes as a forward for Port Adelaide over the years. Francis Evans was taken to pick 41 in that draft. So just to scroll down, I saw that quickly there as well. generally, when players are on the fringe for Port Adelaide, there's a reason, and we've seen it with because there was a clamouring for Francis Evans for a while when he was part of our squad as well, and we've seen the evidence as he's gone away since. He hasn't made a great difference to Carlton either. And look, there's no
As we usually do in that regard as well.
yeah. By the way, continuing we won the trade to because guess interesting thought for the fans out there listening. Out of the two player, Joe Richardson and Houston, which player is having his sight position in the best 23 questioned just right at this moment? It's not Joe Richards. Jonathan Brown was it Jonathan Brown. I think was talking about like, do they maybe send Dan Houston back to the VFL just to get a bit of form? Like he's not. He had 11 disposals on the weekend.
Sounds like a Jonathan Brown thing to say.
Very, very funny to me.
Yeah.
I don't think you'd ever drop Dan Houston, but I still think it's funny that's the there is just those discussions out there at least. Yeah,
absolutely. After his performance on the weekend, that it has become very topical. So
Yeah.
I think our noses are in front. However, our noses were in front of the Chad Wingard trade for a long time before it inevitably has gone sour. So, I guess take advantage of that time when you've got it, winning the trade until you don't.
Yeah. Like, Joe Richards' work ethic is certainly something we'll never be questioning. So I'm looking forward to, looking forward to seeing him in his second year next year as well for us.
Yeah, in a better system.
Yeah. I wanted to speak about Ollie Lord for a moment. I think the last couple of weeks he's suddenly shown some flashes of what we want from him all of a sudden again. Like after weeks and weeks of frustration, well, I mean, he was out of the side for a while. But we just really, him leading into space, kicking a couple of nice goals. We saw him leading last week. Not last week so much. Last week was a shit show. I think I'm thinking of Hawthorn when he led into that pocket and then finished.
Hawthorn.
Yeah. Just we didn't see enough of that. Like him actually recognizing the space, working his defender, getting front position and leading in that early part of the season. And I think again, just for him to go down and kick a couple of goals, compliment Mitch Georgiades. Again, Mitch Georgiades was great again. No, nothing more needs to be said about him. First ball player to hit 50
Agreed.
goals since Chad Wingard. Made me really, we need to, we really need to start getting forwards kicking big bags for the season again would be nice. Which Mitch is well on the trajectory to do that for a few years here. Your thoughts on Ollie Lord, because I've kind of been the last few weeks have just shown me glimpses again of the kind of player that he can potentially be. While I still do have a watch on him for next year, I don't know where he's going to. I mean, we're going to have a few forwards in the list, but just I'm a little bit more happy with him again in the last few weeks.
Yeah, I agree. He was one of the first people I put on my list to spotlight because all you can do is play the field in front of you as a forward.
Yeah.
And he relished having a bit more responsibility as a tool. And it's not the first time he's been in that situation. But on other occasions he hasn't taken his chances. Whereas, like you said, the pleasing thing about this game in particular was when it was in the vicinity, he was presenting into space and leading into space and managing to attack the scoreboard and get the better of it, goals behind. So it is ominous because he will be down the pecking order still next year. And he hasn't taken full advantage. But it is nice to see that aggression because we discussed, I think it was on the squad show, just the curiosity of Ollie Lord being somewhat confrontational and in for the argy-bargy off the ball, but when the ball's in play, something changes for some reason. But this game kind of flipped it back to attacking contests, attacking packs, finding space, and having more of an influence in a game where a forward has pretty little influence on the contest.
Yeah. Him being able to use his strengths as a tool leading forward with the ability to lead. I think he's maybe. There's been some words in meetings through the week just to get back to basics a little bit again, like kind of like we talked about with Jace Burgoyne earlier as well. Just a few of them, just get back to basics, do what for Jace Burgoyne, do what you do best. Ollie Lord, do forward things and recognize the space, lead into. I mean, one of those leads for I think the first goal was kind of like it was a hack kick in forward, but it was a hack kick to space and he kind of recognised that and was able to get front position and lead into it and take a nice mark right in the chest, which he's got a big chest to do. So, yeah. One more one to touch on before we get to maybe segments and then get to what we all want to talk about, which is Travis Boak. Jordan Sweet, once again, dominant. It's a pity that we just don't have the engine room at the moment to take advantage of him giving a lot of advantage with his work. And the Geelong ruck battery is always an interesting one because it's been one of their kind of probably weaknesses despite their dominance over the last 10 years. They've just not quite had them.
It's eclectic.
Yeah. But Sweet, again, can only do what he's got in front of him. And he's been, I think he did really, 53 hit-outs is insane. But, I think he's just starting to make me more comfortable again with the right. I mean, he needs to continue the consistency, but for me, I was really, again, the last few weeks of Jordan Sweet, I've been quite impressed with with the lens towards 2026. The ruck question will still be interesting. I don't think there's not enough that he can do at the end of this year for me to be fully confident, but the last few weeks have definitely been filling me with a bit more comfort again with Jordan Sweet as a long-term prospect as our ruckman.
Yeah, absolutely. I think he's had a great month. And it's just funny, isn't it? Like our midfield unit, I don't know if they've been on the same page all year. Maybe that's overdoing it a little bit. But yeah, he's had his fluctuations in form, even being dropped, finding himself playing for the Maggies. The last month of his has been fantastic. It's been exemplary, especially when you consider that he's had to overcome that adversity through form and selection. Because he had a well-rounded game, but also dominated his position on the ground when he gets selected for first and foremost, which was the most pleasing aspect. And it's really taking it back to what we saw in the second half of last season and what we were hoping for more of this year. And unfortunately haven't got as much as we thought. But I think, this recent period confirms that he'll definitely start next year as the number one. Not that, like you just said, I don't think that's really in any doubt. But with another preseason under Visentini's belt, he is going to want to attack next year with a great amount of vigor, I would assume, as well, which is healthy and which I would assume.
Yeah.
And that's disregarding the possibility of more of a two-ruck AFL landscape, which could be interesting to see for the teams that have a duo that is capable of a consistent, high-quality effort in the contest and outside of it as well.
Yeah, Fremantle will be really excited for that. I mean, they do it already, but it's going to take that question away from the media for them. No, really, I really loved Jordan Sweet's game again, and it just seems to have gotten back to basics as well, which is a bit of a theme of that I've suddenly realised I've touched on. But just a few players getting back to basics over the last month has been really, really good. Did you have anything else you wanted to touch on that? I'm looking over my notes and I don't have too much more. There's a few players that'll already come up a bit more when we do the segments. So, did you want to get to the segments?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Wilson Gray coming up first.
Down, Gray doing brilliantly, getting through to Monfries. That's Gray at his best.
Wilson kicks hard and kicks truly.
Alrighty, so Wilson Gray. Obviously, we don't have a winner to announce for last week because we took the choice to not nominate any for last week because it just wasn't the performance befitting of it. I know it's an 88-point loss, but I think we were both, as we touched on in the review there, that we were a little bit more okay with kind of the application. At least we just were simply beaten by a better side. I get to go first on this one. It's slim pickings. Like, I don't think any of these are going to win the Wilson Gray when it comes to the end of the year. But I'm going to nominate. There was a Manny Liddy moment almost halfway through the first quarter where I think Max Holmes kicks the ball inside 50, and it's kind of set up for Ollie Dempsey to take a mark, but Manny Liddy kind of just comes in from behind and tries to take the mark over Ollie Dempsey's head and just kind of spoils it in the marking attempt.
Burgoyne's kick hauled in by Holmes. He goes to Dempsey, front spot, couldn't bring it down. Well done by Liddy. Farrell.
So it was really good. A great effort from Liddy to get up there, spoil it whilst also trying to take a mark. But then he gets to the ball comes to ground and Liddy lands on the ground and he immediately gets the handball out to Farrell, a really clean handball from the ground. He's kind of flat in his stomach, gets the handball out to Farrell, and Farrell's able to clear it. And we score it, it's about a minute later, but the play kind of slightly moves down the field and we end up scoring that Joe Berry goal for the first one of the day for us. And kind of, whereas if Ollie Dempsey had taken that mark and kicked a goal, potentially, it ends up being a 3-0 to none opening. So it's kind of like a little sliding doors moment. Obviously didn't matter for the game as a whole in the end, but at least for the competitiveness in that first quarter, I thought it was a kind of moments. Both I enjoyed it, but then when I watched the play progress, when I was watching the replay, I was like, oh, this actually kind of set us up for that little comeback as the quarter went on. So yeah, Manny Liddy's marking attempt / spoil on Ollie Dempsey is my pick for the week.
Yeah, that's a great shout from you. Good dare from Liddy. Risky, as you alluded to, but yeah, props to him for having the guts to go for it. A bit like a half specky as well in the same vein. It's a good one from you. It is slim pickings. Couple of shout outs to DBJ's blind spoil early in the first quarter and Alia's after Holmes was running rings around us early, and that continued for sure.
Yeah.
I love an inboard kick. I think it was Willem Drew late in the fourth quarter, kicking to Ollie Lord, who found a paddock of space and inside 50 and set up his second goal. But it was a huge kick, and like you mentioned earlier, excuse me, about Willem, just having more of an influence, having more of a defined role, and I believe that was him. I need to watch it again, but yeah, just having the confidence to play a bit more of an open game and use some effective disposal.
Drew, he takes the second option and Drew takes the grab.
Stay out, Ryan.
Waits for runners to get back and present options. And then the kick towards centre half forward. Lord had escaped his opponent's eyesight and he's able to mark inside 50.
Again, not having any impact on the score at large, but a nice piece of play nonetheless.
Yeah, I was impressed that we didn't down tools, so to speak, in that fourth quarter. I think Geelong ended up winning the quarter by 9 points in the end, but it could have, the way that third quarter went, it could have blown out well beyond 100 the way if it had continued at that pace. But yeah, just some of those little efforts.
Because what was it? It was 6 goals 1 to 4 goals 4 in the last quarter.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, we didn't
a bit less accuracy on one side and a bit more on the other side, and yeah.
Yeah. We didn't stop them scoring, and they were quite accurate, but yeah, we at least tried to do some of our own and keep playing the game, whereas we didn't do that at all against the Crows in that last quarter the week prior. So
no, quite the opposite.
Yeah, that was a down tools effort, which is again why we didn't do a Wilson Gray last week, because can't really pick them out when the team ain't picking up the tools. Alrighty, let's get on to the goal of the week.
Monfries has kicked a goal. Unbelievable. Haven't seen anything like that. It's gone at right angle.
Flashpoint. Stevie Mobler. What a time. Oh! He is floating on air now.
Alrighty, goal of the week. We did have one for last week, of course, because goals are a lot more minor and we can still pick some out. The winner for last week, I actually had to use my a tie break this week. I had a look at the scores just before we went recording and realised it was 50-50 from you wonderful people out there voting. So I used my tie break, which again, to explain, I never vote on our own polls unless I need to use my vote as a tie break. I did nominate the Mead goal that opened our scoring last week, which is a quick reaction, kind of snag it out of the air, have a whack, get it smothered, but then take it off the ground. That was my nomination last week, so I'm going to use my tie break to make that the winner for last week in our goal of the week nomination. So it'll go into the bracket for the end of the year goal of the week, goal of the year, winning for our podcast here. Sorry, I just completely lost track of what I was trying to say. So yeah, Mead wins for last week anyway. You get to go first, Jamie, in your goal of the week for this week. So what are you going with? There was a few good ones.
Yeah, I'll have to go with Joe Barry's goal in the first quarter. It came off a nice passage of play, starting with Jace Burgoyne, who we discussed earlier, slipped a tackle and then got a chain of possession going. A few quick handballs. A nice one from Ollie to DBJ, I think it was, who then got the flick to Joe Barry on the run. And that's things like that in Joe Barry's game we saw a few times. Obviously, this one counted for a goal. But another indication of his attributes at AFL level, talking about Dylan Williams previously and some other players. But yeah, some of those things that we saw from Joe Berry, that is, across this game, I think that's what you go, okay, bit more size, bit more experience, Robbie Gray 2.0, potentially.
Yeah.
This afternoon as Smith gets it clear for Geelong. Burgoyne slipped away. Awkward kick taken by Wines, feints to hand pass, gives it off. Burne-Jones flicked it on beautifully. Berry goes for goal and Port Adelaide. There's a bit of noise. They're first.
You kick it in high and the Geelong defenders will be all over it. Ollie Wines creative and Darcy Burne-Jones. That was a sharp handball for Berry to finish with the goal. Excellent work by Port Adelaide players.
So yeah, that's my nomination. Fantastic goal to open proceedings.
It was opening our proceedings.
I'm forgetting now.
It
was.
Yeah, that happens.
With 10 minutes and 50 seconds left on the clock.
Which, like I said, my Manny Liddy nomination for the Wilson Gray, I've got in my time as 11 minutes 54 on the clock. So I said a minute later, there's a few stoppages, but the play slowly moves down after that Manny Liddy spoil and ends up in the Berry goal. So and I love that nomination. That was my top pick for goal of the week. I was interested to see where you'd go with your pick because mine's obvious now. Honourable mention to Will Lorenz, like that was good from Will. But that Travis Boak goal was already in my nominations, my two before the obvious announcement today. But then it's just like even more like, well, how many more times am I going to get to nominate Travis Boak for goal of the week?
Stanley the tap it straight to Boak. Flying shot from Travis Boak is online. It's brilliant. Mum Chicky requested 15 tickets for family and friends today, Joel. I hope you enjoyed that.
Well, knowing Chicky, that's light on for a game in Geelong. But, geez, that was nice finish by Trav Boak. It was an impatience by Reece Stanley going for the big knockout there. Geelong were doing a fine job just tying it up for a period of time. But
because if we didn't get too many last year, we could have done point of the week for Boak last year. Boak's popped up with a few nice goals this year, but I think that one is one of that. I mean, that goes into the highlight reel of Boak goals, which he's got, a fair number of them now for Port Adelaide across his career. But that's a really, really nice goal, wheeling around onto that foot and then just popping it through from a fair distance and a fair angle. A really nice goal from Boak, and really, really nice to get another one in his kit bag of highlights before he retires at season's end. Low-hanging fruit maybe, but it was also actually just a really nice goal. So I think anyone scores that one, it's possibly going in my nominations, but really happy it was Boak that scored it.
Yeah, good goal. Yeah, got the, I think that was actually a Geelong hit out that he's roved there and just put it through the big ones. So, yeah, good on Travis Boak. That was a great moment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Alrighty, let's get to our Player of the Year votes. Now it's time for the CREEDCAST Player of the Year voting. Alrighty, I get to go first this week on my votes. So, found it tough at the lower end of it. Actually, I found it tough all the way through, apart from an obvious best on ground, I think, that most would have. The rest of it, there was a few honourable mentions this week, which is, again, in an 88-point loss might feel surprising, but I'll leave those until you've gone, because I feel like that you could have some points of difference. Though often when we say that, we end up the same, pretty close and similar. But yeah, my one vote I found really tough, but I've ended up throwing Mitch Georgiades in there. I think, considering what we've talked about in this review, limited opportunity, starved forwards, for him to still kick 3 goals too. We took 2 contested marks as a team for the entire day. Georgiades was one of them. He had 275 metres gained in his 12 disposals. Like, there's not much more to say for him, but it's just the fact that he has elevated to a level that he can find his way to 3 goals too. Get his four shots on goal that you keep talking about this year. Or 5 for the game, but yeah, 3 goals too. Like, for him to find that in a game like this, and in a game where his partner in Ollie Lord actually had a little bit of success as well, I just think speaks to the growth in Mitch Georgiades' game. So yeah, I think a forward starved of opportunity, just the difficulty multiplier for him in this side at the moment. I think it means he gets a vote from me. I've thrown Jordan Sweet into my two votes. Obviously, we spoke about the 53 hit-outs, 30% to advantage, which I think the highest hit-out number for any of the Geelong players was 15 from Flickarves, I think, maybe, but I'm not actually sure. Doesn't matter anyway for Sweet's numbers. He had 16 disposals with 9 of those contested. He had 5 tackles, 3 clearances, 16 pressure acts. A couple shots on goal, which, often you trust him to at least hit one of them. I think he was reasonably accurate for this year. I think 4 goals and 1 was shown as he was taking his first shot that he just missed. So he didn't kick a goal, but he did find his way to getting a couple of shots on goal again in his 6 score involvements, which I think is just it's a nice little, if he can keep adding that string to his bow a little bit more regularly, just popping up with goal scoring opportunities just adds that extra dynamic to having a good quality starting ruckman. My 3 votes through Willem Drew in there. Probably unlucky not to get to the 4 spot, but 24 disposals, 10 contested, 10 tackles, 6 inside 50s, which I think was almost one of the best for us. 6 score involvements, 452 metres gained, which was best on for us, which Willem Drew getting the best metres gained numbers is not
on your Willem.
Yeah, you're not going to. Yeah, so WD28 is back. 28 pressure, 28 pressure acts as well, which was best on for us. So yeah, a really good game from Drew, and probably unlucky not to be in the 4 spot. But I've gone with Travis Boak in the 4 spot. Probably was down. That's very much an emotional decision based on today, but he was in my votes. I think I just was like, I'm given how many more times, and I think Boak actually had. Again, there's a degree like we talk about. We manage our votes based on what our expectations sometimes and the role they play in the team. For Boak to be, equal second best for disposals, 24 disposals, 11 contested. A key for me in this was the fact that he went at 75% efficiency as well. 5 tackles, a couple clearances, 4 score involvements. He had a big goal, obviously, that we just spoke about. And he had the 10 ground ball gets, 20 pressure acts. And he's Travis fucking Boak. So that's really what I wanted. But I think his numbers actually were very, very good for a player that's my age. And I'm walking around just doing some gardening work at my job this week. And I have so many parts of my body that are aching at the moment. And Travis Boak has kind of spoken to that in his retirement, which we'll get to. But for him to have that kind of game in a team that's just struggling, I think is just really, really impressive and just shows his dedication to this team, and he gets the 4 votes. But emotion and all that aside, I still couldn't get him to the 5 votes, which is Ollie Wines, obviously. Led he's just been in such good form over the last 18 months, Ollie Wines. Really, really impressive, and really impressive again for him to lead so well with the 32 disposals, 14 of those contested, 8 tackles, 8 clearances, 10 score involvements, the 7 ground ball gets, and 26 pressure acts. So kind of was right up there in the ground balls and pressure act numbers, and obviously the clearance numbers and tackles and stuff was pretty close to up there as well with the 10 score involvements. So I think he went at about 6. I didn't actually put his disposal efficiency number down there for some reason, but I think he went at 65, 66, which isn't the best, but yeah. Pretty close. And yeah, again, for a game in tough conditions that we were never winning, he still applied himself with aplomb. And Ollie Wines has been having a really good year again. And as Boak goes to retirement, Ollie Wines is going to become really the senior head in that midfield. And hopefully we have a couple more years of this kind of Ollie Wines performance, because it's been really, really key for us, I think. And yeah, happy to give him my best on again.
Best on again, Tom Lonergan. Yeah, that's a great shout from you. I love Ollie Wines. I already gave it away earlier how I considered his game being best on. A lot of the same players. Honourable mention to Kane Farrell, who I think had a pretty good game. We haven't really spoken about him at all. I think similarly to Sweet, his last month has been quite fantastic. And really lifting a bit further in the absence of Dan Houston's impact last year, but also in conjunction with Connor Rosie being so body-wise as well. In recent weeks, I think Kane Farrell has lifted to cover that position, so unlucky to miss out on votes. I've actually given, and I mean, honourable mention on my behalf to Mitch Georgiadis, because I didn't put him in on any other week. I probably would have, because you're right, 5 shots on goal in a game where we had 33 inside 50s. That's phenomenal effort. How many superlatives do you want to use for Mitch Georgiadis a year? 50 goals just says it all. It's a fitting milestone for a young man who's had to carry our load. I saw someone mention on social media earlier today that we've gone from a big Charlie Dixon carrying the load of our forward line to a young Mitch Georgiadis carrying the load for our forward line. And I hope in that aspect, it's just a flash in the pan. And I hope it only compounds our fortunes next year with hopefully a full complement. So I've actually given my 1 vote to Will Lorenz, just
Nice.
Purely for an improved performance. I think I think you can comfortably say it's probably a career best performance for a guy who's under 10 games, including sub games, 16 disposals, 4 of which contested. He went at 87.5%, which I mentioned earlier. 264 meters gained, which I also mentioned earlier. 4 marks. He kicked that nice goal that you alluded to within his 3 score involvements. 4 rebound 50s, 17 pressure acts, 13 of which were in the defensive half, and 3 tackles. So a really promising effort, which we discussed earlier. My 2 votes I've given to Travis Boak. I haven't gone the emotional upgrade on my behalf. Jordan Sweet at 3 for me.
You've got integrity.
I
I've just
how dare you? I thought Jordan Sweet's game was, as I said, a very well-rounded game, impacting hit-outs, disposals, scores. He had 4 score launches, 6 score involvements, and then he kicked his 0 goals too. 16 pressure acts as well, 5 tackles and 3 1%ers. So bits and pieces everywhere, which I love. And we commented earlier in the year that we got the perception that he was aiming to influence in more general play, contest to contest, chaining up. So his bell curve has kind of been like a reverse bell curve. He started the year well, dropped off, and I think he's finishing the year very well. And that's because he is contributing in many facets. Willem Drew at 4. Great to see WD28 make a return. Versatile, use it for anything. And Ollie Wines goes at number 5 for his MVP performance, just really turning back the clock once again. And how often do you do that before you're not actually turning back the clock. That's just who you are,
Yeah.
and that's who Ollie Wines is. It just a really, again, looking for the positives in life. His year has been amazing, and if he's not in the top 5 for the best and fairest, I obviously know nothing, and I'm a piece of shit. The third time, third time tonight.
Yeah. Yeah, it's gonna. I mean, with the way the year's gone, there's going to be a fascinating best and fairest count. I think for our team because the way they vote and everything. And Ollie Wines has probably been, if you think about the year, I think he's probably been the most consistent performer. To be honest, apart from he's missed a couple. There's a heart murmur the one game, a couple of weeks with injury, but other than that, he's played really, really well. I think so. Yeah, really going to be interesting when we get to that point. Cool. Love those. Love the honorable mentions were exactly where I was going to go as well. Kane Farrell was certainly right up there, and Will Lorenz was one that I did consider for a bit, but didn't ultimately get there. But I love that you've got him in there because I think he for him to be up there in the disposals and just really make an impact and be involved was really cool. So love that you got him in the votes there. A quick look forward before we get to chatting about our man Travis Boak for the last part of the podcast. But we'll obviously talk about it more in depth on the squad show later in the week. Get around the Patreon if you're not on there already. Love the little group that's on there. We want more people to talk to and listen to our squad show. So we'll talk about the Freo game in depth later in the week on the Patreon. But yes, we do play Freo Adelaide Oval this Saturday evening at 7:40 p.m. Looking like a nice day on Saturday and a nice weekend, really. So weather should be, while it's probably going to be cool, obviously being later at night. Won't be too much. Certainly not the last time we played at Adelaide Oval in the showdown and that torrential downpour. That's not going to be a factor. But otherwise, Freo are flying. We're not. Our injury list just keeps on growing. So don't have much hope. We'll talk about it more in depth when we get to the squad show. But our injury list is I haven't actually done the count. It's 14, 15 deep now. Jack Lukosius is a test, so he could play, but I don't know if he will. Otherwise, Jace Burgoyne, obviously we mentioned he's out with the plan. It's I've got it actually here.
Plantaris.
Partial tear of the plantaris tendon, the plantaris. Try and throw some sauce onto that. But with a timeline for return to become clearer in the coming days. Now, the fact that this is our third to last game of the year, they don't even have a timeline yet, and they're going to get it clearer. That just means to me that Jace Burgoyne might be out for the year. Obviously,
we'll just see that season label slapped on there.
Yeah,
this time next week.
A lot of talent with season-ending injury next to their name now that we look at that. So, don't have much hope in this one. Freo do have a couple of concerns of their own, obviously, for the prospects of their season. The Hayden Young injury is a big one, so we won't be. Hayden Young won't be out there. He is very much a straw that stirs the drink player for Freo this year. So that's an interesting loss for them, but they've still got so much talent out there. And Alex Pearce is going to be a test for this week. He hasn't played for the last month or two. Their captain and one of our favourite non-port players in the league. Captain of Woke FC, Alex Pearce. I say that with love, not just a little bit of social media chat there. Errol Goulden apparently is vice captain after this weekend as well. And Freo's injury list, while a little bit, and they've probably got some concern with the Hayden Young one. As far as their prospects for this week, I think they're still far too strong for us. So that's how I stand on it. We'll talk about it more when we get to the squads. But I assume you're of a similar sentiment to our prospects this week.
Yeah, absolutely. Freo are actually quite a young side. I think they've got the youngest AFL list in the competition, which makes their performances even better. Now, the makeup of their best 23 may not be the youngest in the league from a best 23 point of view, but regardless of the fact that they're young, which could be a way to even the stakes a little bit, they just keep getting the job done. They keep getting wins under their belt. And fuck me, right? That injury list.
It's insane looking at the list now.
So again, we look for the positives in individual performance and how it will look going into next year. So we'll obviously get into some machinations of how the team will look and how the game will look come Thursday night when we record the squad show. But yeah, look, Jace Burgoyne, who the fuck do we actually have to pick from? If Jack Lukosius comes back in, how is that shifting the magnets to allow? Connor Rosie is actually the most likely replacement for Jace Burgoyne. So
Connor isn't on the injury list, even though he's got a broken hand and been ill, but he's still
yeah. So I forgot about old Skip there, and
yeah.
Oh, that's a very condescending and interesting point. So Connor didn't play. Zach Butters was the acting captain, but he had a shit game. So
I see where you're going with this.
So did we make a mistake in who we appointed captain, or is it just hard to play AFL football? And you got to be pretty good. And Connor is actually a good footballer. But you knew exactly where I was going with that.
Yeah.
Just being facetious, not to be condescending, more cheeky than anything.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Connor Rosie was.
This wasn't a game for the Zach should have been captain crew. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. I've seen some commentary around that again. As soon as Rosie got injured, it's just like, commentary starts again. I'm like, he's had a very, very good year and was on, a lot of people were talking about him as an All-Australian up until the injury trouble started hitting him. And then our form started slipping as well, just as a team. But when we were in a vein of form, like Connor Rosie was one of the best players in the competition and getting a lot of plaudits. So, yes, very, very good facetiousness by you. I like that. That's good shit. Anyway, we should move on to just the last portion of the podcast here. And obviously, we're going to talk about the great Travis Boak. Obviously, announced his retirement today. He's going to play the last 3 games, we presume, like injury aside. So he's on 384 games at the moment. Hopefully, we'll be finishing on 387. Unfortunately, that is what it'll be. It's no finals this year or anything like that. I just want to briefly read out his career litany of career achievements here. Obviously drafted pick 5, 2006 national draft. I'll talk about his debut in a moment because I have fun memories of that. But his AFL honours are, I think, one of the most important ones, actually, I think, for him and for how we perceive him as a human and a representative of a club. The Jim Steins Community Leadership Award in 2021. All-Australian 2013, 14 and 2020, runner-up in the Brownlow Medal in 2020. It was actually right up there in the Brownlow Medal in 2021 when Ollie won it as well. I think he was in the mid-20s in votes there. Runner-up in the AFL Players Association MVP in 2020. Runner-up in the AFL Coaches Association Player of the Year in 2020. All-Australian, I think, squad in 2019. Peter Badco Medal. Port Adelaide have got some typos here. I've just realised they've got 2014, 2014, and 2019. So can't win 2 in 2014. So I'd have to look at where that other one was meant to be. I'm going to go from Port Adelaide's post today. Showdown medal 3 times, 2013, 2020, and 2021. The Shanghai medal in 2018 and 2019.
Hey!
Yeah. I love those games. I never got to go to one, but I love those games. 2014 and 2017 international rules. He was a Rising Star nominee in round 19 of 2007. His club honours, obviously the all-time games record holder as of this year. Foss Williams medal 2013, 14, 15, 19, 20, 21, 22. Just so many years. Runner-up in the best and fairest in 13, 14, 2020, 21, 22. Obviously the John Cale medal winner in 2011 and 2019. John McCarthy Award 2019-2021. Obviously our captain from 2013 through 2018. Got life membership in 2016. Gavin Wanganeen medal in 2009, which is the Best Young Player Award, and the Coaches Award in 2008 as well. An incredible list of achievements right there, which just speaks to his longevity. And I think probably to start the conversation, though, I want to just key in on the Jim Stein's Leadership Award, because I think that's kind of where our love for him comes from so much. Is obviously when you play at a club for 19 years, it's going to come, but then the reverence that we have for him really comes from just the person he is, much more, which is what I kind of posted about today, like legendary player, but even better human, is kind of just what we love about him so much, isn't it?
Yeah, that's exactly right. As Australians and the tall poppy syndrome that we carry with our culture, we love our heroes to be down to earth people as well. And thankfully, Travis Boak is a hero in every sense of the word, in a football sense. And he is also a very down to earth human being and flows through into the work that he does to give back to the community. And he has done throughout his whole AFL career, which is a credit to him. Just an absolutely beautiful human being that has the time of day for pretty much anyone in the community.
Yeah, he does. Whether it be obviously a lot with the Cancer Foundation, but just how he is with. I took a moment when I went down to open training a few weeks ago during the last school holidays here in South Australia, when the players were running around, well, not running around, just walking around the edge of the field signing autographs after the game. I kind of ended up in the vicinity where Boak was, and obviously I didn't have anything, so I just stood back from the fence and let people, the people that wanted to get in there, and also I was right there, very close to, and just watching his interaction with fans, how he talks to them, how he gives them, real, because you can see a lot of AFL players around that kind of take that token, like, yeah, I'm just going to sign this thing, say hello, but then like Boak's really smiling and engaging with eye contact with everyone, and then some lady came, like, had a printed photo of, like, a canvas print of Boak in a suit from, like, it was probably like from 2012 or something like that, but it was like she printed it on canvas, and she just comes barreling through, like, and I think she knows a few people at the front. She kind of hangs it over the fence, and Boak just comes along and it goes, and just like his eyes widen, he's like, "What is the like what?" And then kind of jokes like, "Couldn't have picked a better photo for this." And she's like, "Oh," and like, but he's like engaging in conversation. Like I listen in and just watch, because I'm like fascinated by this, because even the port photographer kind of notices and starts trying to snap some photos, and like this is very, very funny interaction for the. I don't think I actually saw it pop up on socials where they didn't get a good photo, but he's like, what do you want me to sign on there? Like, any messages? And like, really, and then he spends like a minute writing on this thing, and then I see her walk away and don't catch what kind of what's said, but there's lots written there with his signature at the end, and that does it really classily, and that's just a straight to the pool room kind of piece for whoever that person was. But just kind of the amount of time he took at the end of that training session, he was one of the last ones kicking goals at the end of the training session anyway, and was right out there in amongst it, but yeah, I mean, he spoke today about how he's realised his body is finally kind of giving up on him as far as being able to consistently get to the level at the AFL level. But the fact that he's having these issues with his body this year, still runs out of training like that, and still is one of the last ones out there really, really engaging with fans, not just doing the token signatures and whatever, but really, really engaging and smiling and having a laugh and stuff, was really, like, for me, that just an experience from a couple of weeks ago really spoke to kind of the man he is. Yeah. I mean, you're a few years younger than me, but like we're of a similar age. So you've kind of grown up with, I mean, probably from your teen years through to now, he's been an ever-present part of your life. I think that's my experience, is like, I feel like I've grown as a human and grown into the man I am right alongside Travis Boak. Is that how it feels for you? Like, I think that's why it hits so hard for a lot of us. Like, a lot of us at this age, and in hell, like someone that's 20 right now has known nothing but life with Travis Boak as a player.
Travis Boak, yeah.
Even for us at our age, like our formative years and our years as adults have only known Travis Boak as being an accompaniment to that. I've butchered that, but that's how I feel. I'm wondering if that's the same for you, because I feel like that's the experience of many.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I was 14 in 2007, and that's when me, my dad, and my brother my youngest brother hadn't even been born yet when Travis Boak debuted. So, like you're talking about now, yeah, I mean, he's only just got his learner's permit. Yeah, I was 14. That was the year that we first started attending the football fairly regularly.
Mhm.
So that's why, and yeah, so to echo your sentiments, I've basically lived my whole football attending life with Travis Boak playing for Port Adelaide Football Club, because we got memberships in 2008 after that year. So I actually look back on 2007 with a lot of fondness. I will die on that hill every day of the week that it was actually a very good year, sans one specific day. And it's the exposure of Travis Boak that goes along with it, on top of all the other positive moments from that year, and on top of the fact that it was really the first year that started the not a bloodlust for football, but you know where I'm going with that
Mhm.
sentiment. And yeah, back to the point, Travis Boak has been there the whole time.
Mhm.
So it will be quite sad to finally see him play his last game. It definitely was for Robbie Gray, who I hold
Mhm.
um, in a similar regard and had similar sentiments back then. But Travis Boak has just been a favourite player, to talk specifically on his AFL career. He's been a favourite player for so many people for so long. And memories from early in his career only carried through in the mid portion, and then his Renaissance years as well.
Mhm.
Is just a well-beloved character, and his 300, I remember his 300th game was actually the catalyst for me to start actually podcasting. Obviously, as you're aware, and anyone who's been listening to us since last year would know that I started a podcast by myself in 2021, and yeah, basically Travis Boak's 300th game came around, and I just wanted to confess my undying love for him.
Yeah.
No. But yeah, I just wanted to put my thoughts out there, record them down and put them out to the world. And that kind of kicked off a fun little project for me that didn't last long, but obviously gave me the opportunity to meet you in the meantime as well. So,
Mhm.
yeah, that's how much Travis Boak means to me. Um, Obviously, these are people that we go and watch from the stands by and large
Mhm.
every couple of weeks of a football season. But we do spend, as invested people in a community-based, passionate football club. Yeah, these are our heroes for a lot of the year, and the efforts that they display on the field and off the field contribute to that. And not to retread over that ground. But yeah, it all contributes to how we feel about Travis Boak and his contributions to the club, symbolic or otherwise.
Mhm.
Um, Obviously, that moment in 2012 uh, has elevated his stature in our football club, and put him on a pedestal that he quite rightly deserves to sit on.
Mhm.
But at that moment in time elevates it a little bit more for a lot of people, I believe.
Yeah, I'd absolutely agree. I mean, particularly when we look at the AFL landscape was a little bit different back then, but there still was like I mean, the famous photos, infamous of Scott and Selwood and co flying into Adelaide, and it was a real kind of power move thing. And Boak has openly admitted that the decision was very, very difficult, and it was very, very 50-50. But the fact that it's still, I think it speaks to the the person you are. Like when a 50-50 decision comes up, and you wouldn't be blamed for going one way or the other, but it does speak to who he is. And your background right now is the image that the club put out today, which is great. Just a lot of snapshots of his career, and I can just see the word loyal to your left. I mean, as I'm looking at you, um, and that loyalty is not something you can ever demand from someone in the AFL, especially in the modern game. But it's what felt right to him, and I think that just speaks to who he is. The fact that he stayed in that time, Whether he saw, I don't know if he would. I could be he could be forgiven for not exactly seeing, but it must have at least decided that, hey, had the maybe just had the patience to realise that I've got a long career yet left. This club is a proud club, and we'll figure it out going forward, and there will be good times ahead. Obviously, it hasn't led to the ultimate success, but he's had a lot of personal success, and the team has gotten very, very close to the ultimate success in that time. And so he had the patience and the loyalty to stick fat with a club that was really, really struggling and just needed inspirational figures to, a lot has been said about his role there, and guys like Trent Grove as well. But Boak's really the centerpiece of that. The start of the turnaround was Boak staying, and I mean, he didn't just reject a move closer to home; he rejected a move to home for him. It was very, very much a move back to his heartland, and he chose to stick fat with the club and has built a home in Adelaide and in Port Adelaide, which is just really, really something that means so much to me as a sport fan that loves guys that apply themselves. Their personality is like this, as the guys I really attach myself to, whatever sport it may be. And Boak's right at the top of kind of my Mount Rushmore of favourite athletes in any sport, really, because he's just both what he means to us as fans off field and what but then just his pure achievements on field as well, whether it be those inspirational goals, and he can celebrate as well as anyone. I love that. Like, I don't know what it's just such a
the passion really came through, particularly when he was captain.
Mm-hmm.
I know in that, particularly 13 and 14, he kicked a lot of captain's goals in those 2 years, and that's part of the iconography of Travis Boak, particularly as a captain of our football club. It was a great period in time because those were the moments that stick out, whether it be the showdown goals or just, we all know those moments from particularly 13 and 14, fresh number one on the back, and just lifted when he needed to in important moments. And then the passion that you just mentioned came through. Again, all genuine emotion, and none of it is performative. It's just pure and utter genuine emotion coming through. And as lovers of a football club, we're the ones that are going to be there until we die. Players, officials come and go, administrators come and go. But those are the things that we'll always remember, and those are the endearing aspects of a football player when they're with your club. How do they genuinely feel about your football club? And if you believe that, then you're just kissing their feet from that point on. His ability to live, and then overcoming adversity in the wilderness on a half-forward flank for a couple of years there, going away, just absolutely turning his body into a machine, and then having a renaissance in form, re-entering the fray from a midfield sense, and having potentially his career best years in 20 and 21 after not knowing and from the horse's mouth considering retirement at the end of 2019, I think it was. Which just sounds utterly ridiculous to consider that at this point in time. And just to finish off, I do think that this decision is appropriate, and it only goes along with everything I've said. It's Travis Boak being genuine and doing what he genuinely believes is the best thing for the football club. Because we all know that Travis Boak could go for the 400 next year. He could have 10 to 15 good games next year. But would that be helping our club move forward? And clearly we were having these discussions late last year and about life after Travis Boak, and now he's made a very wise decision that I don't think we can dispute, and we're just left here to celebrate the career that I have personally found a lot of joy from, and I I'm very grateful to have experienced his career.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I absolutely agreed. I think he mentioned in his press conference today that he felt his body the struggles with his body started to become more front of mind. And once he really started being concerned about it this year, it made the mental thoughts about whether he can go started happening. And he just said once that started, it became pretty quickly clear to him that like once your mind and body starts going down that road, it's hard to. And whereas in previous years he's been he hasn't had that, and I think it's just when you know, and the fact that he's at 384 games at the moment. We're obviously hoping, I mean, with this week and the next 2 weeks, that all going well, he'll get to 387 as his career number, and he's going to be the highest games played without actually hitting the 400, which is, while we would have loved that, it's still an incredible achievement. I mean, 300 games is an insane achievement. To add another 87 on top of that, and as we've just, he's gotten into both of our votes this week, so he's still playing at a reasonable level, obviously. It is in a team
that's right,
struggling, but he's still putting the performances on the board. So I wanted to finish on a note, just I think it's fun to look back on, and is just a little note about, his career and where it started, and then kind of wrap it back to now. His debut, I touched on the fact that I was going to go back to it, was the 12th round 12 in 2007 versus Essendon at Footy Park. It was actually Warren Treadway's 200th game, and it was also Robbie Gray played that game and actually got nominated. Robbie Gray's Rising Star nomination that year was in Travis Boak's debut game. I was actually there. I didn't have season tickets or anything at this time, or membership, and young idiot, 19-year-old. But I went to the game because I wanted to see. I was there for Treadway's 200th. I can't honestly say I remember Travis Boak being mentioned. He was debuting because he was obviously a high draft pick of ours. I knew that he was debuting, but I don't remember any. Obviously, this being that long ago, I don't have any clear memories of it. But I do certainly remember Robbie Gray running around in that game like that, and it's it seems kind of fitting that he made his debut in a game that Robbie Gray really announced himself to us. Justin Westhoff kicked a couple of goals in that one as well, and it was just you've got three of an incredible draft crop that we got in 2006, which was obviously Boak at 5. There was Paul Stewart was our next draft pick, who had a reasonable career as well.
That's right.
And then
Nathan Cracker was also in that draft.
Yes.
David Roden as a delisted rookie.
Yeah, he was like
selection
or something like that. Yeah.
yeah.
Then
it was a fantastic draft. It is the draft of all drafts for Port Adelaide.
Well, even more so when Robbie Gray's at 55 and Justin Westhoff is at 71, and between them they played over 500 games and kicked over 500 goals. Like, it's actually like insane numbers. And then old T-shirt Tommy Logan got upgraded from the rookie list at the end of that year as well.
Hey, family favorite.
Really, yes, absolutely. But yeah, I love that game was his debut, and there's really a lot of intersections with different generations of our team. Obviously, Warren Treadway's 200th, but the fact that he also, obviously, Chad and Kane were both playing in that game. Obviously, coaches of his since, at least in Chad. Peter Burgoyne had 25 disposals in that game. He's now played a fair bit of footy with his son. Just the real intersections of, obviously, there's been a lot of comparisons made with Russell Ebert and his impact, and I think the comparisons to Russell Ebert are really apt because Russell Ebert, also famously a fantastic human, as much as like Russell Ebert's legendary status as a player is made all the better because, like Boak, legendary player, even better human. Brett Ebert played in that game as well, obviously Russell's son. So just a lot of intersections with the Port Adelaide, both of now as well as the historical Port Adelaide that we obviously the reason we have an AFL team is our success, our unprecedented and unparalleled success at the league level. And it's just like Boak kind of transitioned us from there to now, with taking us through those dark years and getting us now. And obviously his great friendship with the likes of Robbie Gray that built out of that draft. The famous stories about them not talking to each other on the plane because of rivalries at the under 18 level and stuff like that, but then they become best of mates and
yeah, exactly.
So his debut game is like a really fun little piece of kind of lore to me because I just think, and funnily enough, on the Essendon side, Angus Monfries and Paddy Ryder were playing in that one too. So like some future.
That's amazing, isn't it? Yeah, just like intersections of inside and outside the club. Inadvertently players who would enter our club at a later stage. That's a fantastic starting point, but also intersection of careers and icons. Great year. Do you have that game up still versus Essendon?
I do have it here. Yeah.
Were we challenged in that game and then came back?
No. So what happened in that one?
I might be thinking of a Carlton game that year.
The Carlton game is we were challenged, and that's the one he gets his Rising Star nom for. I have those stats here.
That's what I'm thinking of. Yeah. My bad.
No, the Essendon game at 3/4 time, we were up by 12 goals. So it was 19-10 to 7-13 at 3/4 time, and then at the end of the fourth quarter, it was 19-12. So we scored 2 points in the last quarter versus their 6 goals for. So Essendon just kicked a bag.
Some junk time.
Bring it back to a respectable 31 points, whereas it was almost 12 goals. So 3/4 time, it was we demolished. It was like a 7 goals to 1 first quarter. Then we went 6. Yeah. The first 3 quarters we kicked 19 goals, and then they kicked 2 points for the last quarter. Like it's really insane numbers. Treadray kicks 4. Robbie Gray kicks 4. Obviously, again, Robbie Gray's in the Rising Star nom game. Westhoff chips in with a couple, and a really good game there. But yeah, the one that you're talking about, which is you're very, very glad you brought it up. I do actually have the stats here of that one too, which was Boak's Rising Star nom game in 2007. He had 28 disposals. He had which came along with 2 goals. It was as well, and so it really, really, obviously. Almost led the line. I think he was the second most disposals on the day, despite apart from Kane Corns at 33. Kane Corns got possessions? I had no idea. I thought he was just a trash player that somehow ended up with 300 games. Who knew? Sorry, facetious. I just love that internet idiots just go, Kane Corns was trash, even though he's like a premiership and a couple of All Australians and everything. But
even though statistics exist.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Boak was the second most disposals with 28 and a couple of goals.
What round was that in? Sorry?
Round
so he debuted in round 12.
He debuted
7 rounds.
Yeah, 7 rounds later. Right. And because round 12, back to round the stats, he had the 9 disposals in round 12 in that debut game. So kind of wasn't involved, like obviously a debut game where he spent a fair bit of time on the bench, as we talked about, and we've talked about at times. The bench was actually
Did he not come up from West Adelaide seconds?
I thought
am I putting a little extra mayo on that?
No, I thought he was
because that was in the years.
Was he at Glenelg? In
sorry, yeah. I think I confused that because I think Robbie Gray might have been listed at West Adelaide.
Yeah, that was the years that they had to they drafted.
Yeah, the sub draft, the mini draft, the SANFL mini draft. Yeah, ridiculous idea by non-Port Adelaide supporting people who want that. But I remember he wasn't even getting a good goal at SANFL level, and then Choco was just like, nope, you've got AFL attributes, so you're going to debut in a team that could handle a debutant who was probably at worst short of the level, but it didn't really matter because we had the talent to cover it. Again, a great year of football, and to be honest, if I could experience any minor round again, that would be in my top 5. For sure.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, I remember that year for a lot of reasons, but I mean that game against I think it was round 21, a couple of weeks later, after that Rising Star nom, that we get that big win down at Cardinia Park and break their 14-game win streak, and you're thinking, oh fuck, maybe if we get into finals,
to our detriment in the end. we should have just let them win.
Yep.
We let ego get in the way.
Yeah, it's funny,
even though we were all over the moon at the time.
Oh man, that just to touch on that round 19 game again, that he gets the Rising Star nom. We were up by 6 goals at halftime. By the end of the third quarter, we were down by 3 points. So Carlton came storming back with a 8-goal to 1 third quarter that got us behind, but then we 6-2 in the last quarter. We win by 3.5 goals in the end, and obviously Travis Boak has a big hand in that with a couple of goals and then 28 disposals. So a little bit of 2007 history for you, which not the history that most other fans like reminding us of. They're actually talking about the stuff that was fun. So. And very
absolutely, and there was a lot of fun when you finished second in the after the minor round. Well, second holistically as well. There are a lot of positives, a lot of good moments, apart from the glaringly obvious one.
Such fun to watch us bring in so many, like to just bring in those draftees. Like I just remember because I'd grown up with that initial team, the 1997 through to that successful era, and then once they start retiring, like as a kid, you go, "Oh man, is it ever going to be this?" And then Westhoff comes in, and Robbie Gray comes in, and then Boak comes in, and you go, "Oh, so you just reload, okay?" Like it's just like like obviously I knew that, but also I hadn't
Oh, it is going to be okay.
So
Well, thinking it is going to be okay. Because that draft in particular had a very good 2007, and then 5 years in the wilderness, and then you're like, okay, maybe that's not that simple anymore.
But then, we ultimately got a couple of All Australians out of them, and Justin Westhoff was probably unlucky. Like, just he's too good at everything to get into it. But Justin Westhoff's an All Australian now, But back to wrapping it up on Boak, I think the fact we're talking about 2007 stats with guys like, just looking at the names that are on the other side,
Brendan Lade,
the
Treaders, like you said,
Michael Wilson.
Who were some other names? Michael Wilson played that year too.
Yeah,
Daryl Wakelin, I think, was still on.
He was
on our list.
He played in Daryl Wakelin played in his debut game. He's not listed as playing in the game against Carlton, but he was on the field and played in that game against Essendon. So Wakelin was still playing. Jacob Surgeon was running around in the number 9. Obviously the two Cane boys, two Corns boys. Sean Burgoyne, obviously.
So a real handing over of errors.
Yeah. Actually, sorry, Roden played in his debut game as well. So we've got like 4 guys from that draft playing in that game. Stewart being one missing there as well. Toby Thurston's was still playing. But there's Brad Symes and Stephen Salapecker in there as well. So some real more niche cult players in there as well. But
and Stephen Salapeck's son is on the radar in the next couple of years' time. So again, just that humorous nature of players that played with Travis Boak in his debut season, and now that doesn't count obviously because he won't be there, but it's pretty close.
He's close enough. Yeah.
Salapeck's son. Yeah, obviously with the others as well, being Jace Burgoyne, like you mentioned.
Mm. Yeah.
Well, and Travis Boak may still be around the club.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah. He was talking to AFL 360 tonight about how he's really the mental changes he went through to kind of extend his career, essentially, like getting into the real headspace game. Like that's really where a lot of his interest lies post-career. But he said he's going to go on a long holiday first, which very, very, very,
well
very
deserved.
Well earned by Travis Boak. Maybe he's going to go on a holiday and not spend most of the time working out, though I'm sure he'll find his way to a gym.
And he doesn't have to worry about how much he drinks either.
Yeah.
So good on him. I hope he soaks it all up.
Yeah, no,
not a more deserving person.
Yeah, I don't think anyone has earned a beer like one of those great end of work beers than the long and storied career of Travis Boak. We'll surely talk about him more as the weeks go on, and certainly at the end of year review and whatnot now as well. But glad we got to speak about him here for a little bit. If you've got anything else, by the way, go for it. If there's any other notes you want to make, otherwise we can wrap it up. And
look, I would probably either go around in circles of my general sentiments, or we could just pick out a million moments, eras, any topic under the sun related to Travis Boak. We could pick out moments from every year of his career if we wanted to. But look, just to reiterate, I am truly grateful that we brought a person like that into our club, and that I've had the benefit of experiencing his career that's nearly spanned 20 years. Just out of gratitude, and it'll be an emotional time come our last game versus Gold Coast.
It will be, yeah. Adds a little bit of gravitas to the end of the season for us, which was otherwise maybe not going to have too much to it. But I did have one more note. The 4 players taken before Boak, do you know them?
The one, there's the obvious one, being Selwood.
He wasn't taken before Boak.
Oh no, sorry, he was the one after it.
Oh yeah,
I know Scott Gumbleton was one.
That's the one that I was thinking of most, because like 35 games
At Essendon.
Yeah.
Yeah. Essendon would be peaking about that. The other ones were fairly good from memory.
Yeah.
I can't remember who was number 1. Was that
South Australia?
Nah, Bryce Gibbs.
Yeah.
Or Mark.
No, Bryce
Gibbs. Yeah.
No, you're right. Yeah, so he was number 1.
Yeah.
Gumbleton was 2, which is just an all-time whiff at 2, considering.
Yeah, I remember that for how bad it ended up being.
Yeah, it's like the Anthony Bennett Cavaliers pick. 3 was Lockie Hansen at the Kangaroos, and 4 was Matthew Leuenberger. So yeah, 2 guys that had reasonable careers, but it's the Gumbleton one. The Gumbleton one in the middle is the one that really sticks out. And then Mitch Thorpe was at 6 before Selwood at 7. So it's kind of very, very funny that then Selwood and co tried to get Boak back, but they could have had Boak if they wanted to. But
Well, and I think
they couldn't have had
recruiting
Boak if
staff,
they wanted to, but
it was out of. I think it was out of Selwood and Boak on our side of things as well at the draft table.
Very good recruiting stuff. Selwood or Boak, who are we going to take? We took.
Oh no, yeah, and well, look, out of the top 7 there.
Boak plays the game the right way, and Selwood, I cannot tell you. Like, I don't think there's a Geelong fan that can tell me they swore about Boak the way I've sworn about Selwood across his career. Great respect to Selwood as like his career achievements, but I'm just being a little bit facetious right now. But yeah, sorry. I just wanted to. There was one thing I had in my notes, and when I was scrolling through as you were finishing there, I was like, I want to talk about that draft just for a quick second, mainly to talk about Gumbleton at 2. But yeah, Boak at 5, great pick. Everyone, if whoever was in that draft room that night, if they see me anywhere out there, I'll buy them a beer because they got us Travis Boak. Well, that whole draft, those guys deserve statues for that draft. Like they didn't miss on any of those picks that we took, whether it be Boak at 5 or fucking Westhoff at 71. They hit on every fucking pick.
That's it. It was a good time. It was a good time. But all in all, thank you, Travis Boak.
Absolutely, and we'll be thanking him over across the next 3 weeks, and really just embracing and enjoying the career that's been Boak's, and really, really enjoying the games that are ahead. So I know there's probably a lot of people out there that are a bit disenchanted with the season, but I think there's get down to Adelaide Oval these last couple of weeks that we play at home. Get down there and celebrate Boak. He deserves it. He stayed loyal to us, so stay loyal to him and to the Port Adelaide Football Club as a whole, because that's kind of the energy he exudes, is staying loyal no matter what. And we should kind of take a little bit of Travis Boak into our supportership as the year finishes and we go into 2026 as well. Yeah, that's about it from me.
That's it.
Yeah. Get around the Patreon again if you want to listen into our squad show later in the week. Otherwise, nothing more to say.
Can't pair
and fucking Travis Boak.